Good morning, church. Now we're looking a little sparse in the auditorium. If you guys are in the upper room and you want to join us in the auditorium, all the party's going to happen here.
When all I see is a battle, you see my victory. When all I see is a mountain, you see a mountain moved. And as I walk through the shadow, your love surrounds me. There's nothing to fear now, for I am safe with you. So when I fight on my knees, with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you, and every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. And if you are for me, who can be against me? For Jesus, there's nothing impossible for you. And when I see the ashes, you see the beauty. You see an empty tomb. So when I fight on my knees, with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you, and every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Almighty fortress, you go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadows, you win every battle. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. An almighty fortress, you go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadow, you win every battle. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. An almighty fortress, you go before us. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. You shine in the shadow, you win every battle. Nothing can stand against the power of our God. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees, with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you, and every fear I lay at your feet. I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you, and oh God, the battle belongs to you. Hey, Todd.
You guys can be seated. There we go. I figured I hit the mute button. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pathway Church. My name is Todd. I'd just like to welcome you here this morning. Every single week, someone gets up here and greets you and says, we are one church in 2 rooms and online. And that's mostly true this morning. We are having some tech issues. So everything's kind of going to be in this room, and the other room, it is going to be broadcast across. So we are working on it. If you're seeing some stressed faces around here, that's why. We're so glad that you're here. If this is your first time at Pathway Church, we're just so glad that you braved these temperatures to make it your first time at Pathway Church. That's impressive. Just thank you so much for joining us. We actually have a gift for you. The table that you would have seen right on the other side of this wall where the doors open, you can go there and claim your gift. And yeah, we're just so glad that you chose to join us. Now, I have a few announcements. I'm going to try to make it so you can see over here. On February 16th, on Family Day, we have a Family Day skate happening. There it is. Duro Arena 1 to 6. There is lots happening. Pathwaylife.com/skate. You can get all the details, but also something really important. Misha's saying, please sign up if, number 1, you are hoping to skate or to play hockey or to eat food. Please sign up. There's no cost to it, but we're just asking people to do that so we know how much food to have and to make the team. So I don't know the whole layout of the day, but I think there's like a hockey game for younger ones and then a time for just public skating. And then the older, more competitive ones, we're going to test forgiveness and Christianity and all those things and a hockey game. All of it's happening, but if you don't like skating or hockey or any of those things, there's going to be lots of people. There's going to be lots of food there. So encourage you to sign up for that. But today is the deadline. We need people to sign up so we know how much to make and what to bring. So please do that. Second thing is February 19th from 7 to 9 right here, p.m. We are going to be having a worship night. So just wanted to invite you to that. I know we've been having these a lot more consistently since we have this building to do them in. And it is always an incredible time just to connect with our Savior. It's such a good time. And if maybe you're newer to church and you're thinking worship night, that sounds like too deep, honestly, I encourage you to come. I encourage you to come. It's not an intimidating thing. It's just a time where we can worship together. The last announcement I have is February 28th. There is a women's event. It is going to be like a mini retreat. So they promise rest and connection. If you are here and you're a lady who wants to go and you just want the rest part, I encourage you just to go. I'm sure they'll leave you alone for the most part. But you can go on to pathwaylife.com/women and sign up for that. Please do that as soon as possible. It is free, but there's only 25 spots left. So if you could sign up as soon as possible, reserve your spot, that would be fantastic. So that is it for my announcements. Now, is Kelly Wilson in this room? I don't see Kelly Wilson. He's parking. He's also giving a board update today, which is now a little bit awkward. So I also have I guess we're going to do the board update next service. But I have an elder update that I was going to give. I know many of you have been praying as we have had a search for an associate pastor at the church. And I am here to let you know that the church has hired someone to be an associate pastor. So, in answer to prayer, see if Nathan was in here, he would have clapped way harder because this is honestly an answer to prayer. His name is Matt Trussell. He applied at the end of November, and we have put him through the ringer. He had an interview with Nate and Dwayne, and then the second one, they brought wives just because they're smarter. And brought them, and then there was another interview, and then we brought him in front of all the elders, and we surrounded him and peppered him with questions as well. So it is Matt and his wife Lacey, and he has 2 kids. And what it's going to look like from your perspective, I think he's going to start working part-time remotely, and he'll be here as he can for the next number of weeks. But the plan is they're going to be looking for a home in this area and moving to this area, and we're hoping that he'll be starting full-time, and you'll be seeing him a lot probably closer to April. So that's something that is just really, really exciting. Thank you for all the people who have been praying for that. We appreciate it so much. So That is it for me talking. So I just want to invite you to stand up. I'm going to hand things back over to the band here, and they are going to lead you in worship this morning.
On which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus. He's never let me down, faithful through generations. So why would he fail now? He won't. He won't. I've still got joy in chaos. I've got peace that makes no sense. So I won't be going under. I'm not held by my own strength, 'cause I build my life on Jesus. He's never let me down, faithful in every season. So why would he fail now? He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus, 'cause he's never let me down, faithful through generations. So why would he fail now? He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't. Came wind, blew, my house is built on you. I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. Rain came, wind blew, my house is built on you. And I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. Rain came, wind blew, my house is built on you. And I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. Oh, I'm gonna make it through, 'cause I'm standing strong on you. Oh, I'm gonna is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus. He's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So why would he fail now? He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't.
My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly lean in Jesus' name. Darkness seems to hide his face. I rest on his unchanging grace. In every high and stormy gale, my anchor holds within the veil. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. Well, we're going to be introducing a new song. Well, we did it at worship, but we're going to be doing it today. But I see Kelly in the back there, and I think he wants an opportunity to give us an update on the board stuff. Thanks, Kelly. Better late than never.
Well, let me ask you this. The last time somebody came up to you in a parking lot with a balaclava on, was it going to go over well? Only at church. Anyhow, good morning, and thanks for coming out in the cold, brave in the cold. I want you to think about something. 23 days to the 1-year anniversary of the first official service of Pathway Wallace Point. And the crowd goes wild. Makes me think, it's only a year. There's been so many things happen. Think about the renovations that took place over the last 4 years. Or just the fact that the far side of the parking lot that you just came into had to be raised up 10 to 12 feet to make it what it is today. And yes, it was minus 32 out there with the wind chill. So whether you're a part of the demo crew, the cleanup or paint crew, or rake the yard and plant the grass crew, or you became part of the financial support crew, I want to thank you. That's amazing. Because you know what? This is my church. Well, we all know it's the Lord's church, right? But isn't that what we say to people? You guys got to come out and see my church. You got to come out and see our church. But or as Pastor Nathan alluded to last week, you stood up and you said, this part of the wall, we'll build this part of the wall because this is my church. Because of your decisions, we have volunteers to help with the kids, the coffee, greeting, parking, and finances to make it all work. And that's just because you stood up and said, this is my church. So now you can walk in here any day of the week, and there's stuff going on. From Monday nights when there's a room full of people doing Alpha. Or maybe it's a morning, and you walk in and there's mums and toddlers here, just so the mums can get together and have a conversation with somebody over 2 feet tall. Or did you know that on a Wednesday night, there's 100 teenagers here for youth group? That's astounding. And you know what? All those teenagers that are here, they don't belong to Pathway. But the kids at school that invited them to come out, they do. And those kids, whether they realized it or not, they stood up and they said, this is my church. This is my youth group. Why don't you guys come on out and have some fun with us? Or you think about the young adults group that recently went to an event in Texas called Passion. They stood up and they said, this is my church. They made it come together. They did some fundraising. And there was also some room in the Pathway budget where we were able to contribute and make that work. It had such an impact on the next generation that's now a line budget item for this year to add into the budget as well. So speaking of the budget, how does all that work? When it comes to the board of directors, I think we have a slide for that. Hey, there we go. We have our board of directors. We actually have a new member that's coming on here very shortly, which is very exciting. So the board of directors, what happens is we take our direction from the leadership and the staff and the elders. We look at the givings that the church receives and how to get the biggest value for the dollars involved so that we can combine the vision and the budget to make it all work. And to give you an idea of where we stand so far this year, we have a slide of what the budget's doing. Do we have that? Look at that. When Nate first said he wanted to have a slide, I went, well, that's going to be 1 month. That's a little underwhelming, isn't it? But when you break it down by the week, you can see that it's straight up. Our goal was $58,553. As of February 1, actual number, $67,753. We're ahead of budget just by about $5,200. So we're on track. And you know what? But there's lots planned for this year. Everything from community events to youth events and next step programs for that person that comes out and says, oh, this is awesome. What do I do next? There's programs put in place. And of course, we have ministries. We support international ministries, and we have lots of local ministries as well. And that's why it says for Peterborough on all of the volunteer T-shirts. We could not do any of that if it wasn't for you saying, this is my church. I want you to think about something. This long hallway out here that heads down towards the offices, if you could see up in the ceiling there, it's full of mechanical. It's full of air ducts and electrical and water. It all runs down that hall and is truncated at the end of the hall, just waiting for the next phase. Picture this. You walk through those double doors, and you walk into a big common area where you can socialize and have coffee. Yeah, we make it work out here in the hallway, but let's face it, it's a little tight, right? So you walk out into that area, the big common area, you can have some coffee and fellowship. Just off that area, there's some washrooms. And then just off that area is a commercial kitchen for when it's needed. Then you walk into a 299-seat sanctuary. Why 299? Because when it hits 300, all the regulations change. Or maybe we just say, what the heck, let's go ahead and what's the next step? And we go there. Or you go outside and you just walk past the end of the building, and very soon there's going to be a playground out there for the kids. Slides and swings and all that good stuff. While the mums and dads stand around and have some time to socialize with each other and maybe introduce themselves to somebody new. Can you see it? It's going to happen because you decided to pick a piece of the wall and say, we'll build the wall, and you stood up and you said, this is my church. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Kelly.
Anybody want to come preach in the parking lot?
The next song I just wanted to, it has some pretty important words in there, and some maybe kind of churchy words that if you're new to church, you might not know what they mean. So I just wanted to kind of explain what they are. So these are in the pre-chorus, so wonderful. He's the God who creates wonders. He works wonders and fills us with awe and wonder. Beautiful. In Psalms, when God's beauty is mentioned, it's in connection with his temple. He shines forth out of the place where he comes to dwell with his people, drawing all nations towards himself in his goodness. Glorious. In Exodus, it's described as a cloud, something so radiant humans can't fully look upon it. But in the New Testament, we see it through Jesus' work on the cross. The veil is torn. We're now invited into his presence. Holy. Much like the glory that kept Moses and the Israelites from entering the tabernacle, God's holiness is dangerous to those who enter his presence while tainted with sin or impurity. But in Christ, God brings us to his presence. Near us, pouring out from him and purifying us instead of destroying us when we come to him, just because of Christ. Merciful. He's slow to anger and he's quick to forgive. This is in Exodus. Mercy is his character. He's always lavishing his grace and kindness to us. Powerful. We've seen God's power all through the Bible, but especially we see this in Exodus when he defeated Pharaoh to save the Israelites. But in Christ, we see his power by him conquering evil and death itself through the death of our Savior on the cross. The power of his Spirit is displayed in our lives when we let him work through our weakness to show his strength. Now, Kelly was talking about this is our church, but this next song, this is called "This Is Our King." If you guys can stand and join us. I wish I could tell you, I wish I could describe it, but I can't contain it, can't keep it to myself. There aren't enough colors to paint a whole picture. There aren't enough words to ever say what I found. And wonderful and beautiful and glorious and holy, he is merciful and powerful. Who we talking about? That's my King. We declare the glory and give him all the honor. Altogether worthy. Who we talking about? That's my King. And there's no one before you. And yes, we will adore you. And all of this is for you. Who we talking about? That's my King. And Jesus, you're my King. Yeah. I ain't letting the rocks cry without joining the chorus. There aren't enough notes to make the harmony. It's the song of the ages, through all of the ages, with all of the earth and heaven symphony. Wonderful and beautiful and glorious and holy, he is merciful and powerful. Who we talking about? That's my King. We declare the glory, we give him all the honor, altogether worthy. Who we talking about? That's my King. And there's no one before you. Yes, we will adore you. And all of this is for you. Who we talking about? That's my King. That's my King. Is he the King of your heart? That's my King. That's my God. That's my shepherd, my protector. That's my King. That's my rock. That's my anchor, my defender. That's my King. That's my God. That's my shepherd, my protector. That's my King. That's my rock. That's my anchor, my defender. Who are we talking about? That's my King. We declare the glory, we give him all the honor, altogether worthy. Who are we talking about? That's my King. There's no one before you. Yes, we will adore you. All of this is for you. Who are we talking about? That's my King. There's no one before you. Yes, we will adore you. All of this is for you. And that's our pastor.
Let's try that again. All right. Good morning, everybody. How are you? It's been a good morning. It has not been without its challenges this morning, I can tell you that. It's kind of fun getting to be over here with the band and the big sounds that are going on. Anyways, so good to see you all here. Wish I could be in the upper room. That's where I was supposed to be this morning. We've had some technical challenges, but we're making it work. Thank you guys for your patience. Today, if you haven't been with us, we're in Nehemiah chapter 4. If you have a Bible, grab it and go ahead and open it up to Nehemiah 4. I'm going to spend some time setting it up, but if you want to, depending on how familiar you are with the Bible, you may need some time. So we're in Nehemiah. If you haven't been with us, we're actually in a message series called Made for This. There it is. Can we say that together? Made for this, both rooms? Made for this. Made for this. And what we're talking about in this message series is the this that you and I were made for, the this that we were created for. I believe with all my heart that God has created each and every one of us uniquely with gifts, talents, abilities, resources, opportunities that no one else has. And God has created us and put us in a space for a time and invites us into His work. He calls us and invites us into His work, into His kingdom. And something incredible happens when you and I discover the this that God has created us for. When we find the things that God has uniquely created and invites us into, when we find it, it's like there's something in our soul that goes, I was, say it with me, made for this. I was made for this. And that's what I want. That's what I want for each of you as you're listening today. It's what I want for my own kids. That's what I want for our church family. I want us to find the thing that God is inviting us into and to step into it boldly, courageously, and with faith. That is where excitement happens. And so as we've been exploring this idea, we've been looking at the story of Nehemiah. Now, Nehemiah is found in the Old Testament. Nehemiah lived roughly 500 years before Christ, so 2,500 years ago or so. So just to give you some perspective, I'm not going to spend long recapping the last 5 Sundays. So let me spend about 60 seconds and give you the context before we move on in the story. Nehemiah is a Jew by birth, living in Babylon. He is the cupbearer to the king of Babylon. It's a very high position. But when he hears about his home nation, the nation of Judah or Israel, and the capital city, Jerusalem, the walls have been lying in ruins for over a century. And when he hears that they're still in ruins, that the people are living in shame, his heart is broken. And we started this series by asking the question, what breaks your heart? Because the thing that bothers you, the thing that grips you in your soul is often the thing that God is inviting you to do something about. And Nehemiah brings this to God and he prays about it and realizes that God is calling him to do something about it. He formulates a vision, which we learned is what could and should be rather than what is. And he begins to see, he prays for favor. He talks to the king of Babylon and he says, the wall, my heart is broken with the wall. The king says, what are we going to do about it? And Nehemiah says, send me, I will go and reconstruct the wall. And he has favor with the king, and the king sends him. Now, we learned this a couple weeks ago. The king sends him with armies, with resources, with lumber, all the stuff he needs to do it. And he heads there. And the first thing he does when he gets there is he begins to organize. He builds a plan. He's got blueprints. He's taking materials list. He's figuring out who's who. He's doing all of this work. And then last Sunday, this is where we catch up. Last Sunday, we looked at chapter 3, which was a list of all the names of the people that Kelly just alluded to that said, this is my piece of the wall. And people from all the surrounding region, they all came and took a piece of the wall and began to work away on it together. So now we enter into chapter 4. He's got favor of God, permission, he's got a title, he's got resources, all the people are with him. So now the work is going to go smoothly until the wall is completed, right? Wrong. What's going to happen now, Nehemiah, for the first time in this whole story of capturing the vision that God has placed on his heart and being faithful and doing all this stuff, the first thing, it brings us to our theme today, which is opposition. Isn't that exciting? Are you guys excited you're in church today? I've been dealing with opposition all morning, all right? Stuff has been going wrong. Opposition, stuff is going to go wrong. And we could define opposition this way. I like giving definitions so we know what we're talking about. Here's the definition of opposition. Is resistance or dissent expressed in action or argument. Opposition that you and I will face can be a physical thing, like someone can stand in your way. You're not getting in here. That's opposition. But someone can also say things, communicate things that create opposition, tension, and resistance for you. And so Nehemiah is going to experience all kinds of opposition from this point forward. The wall started to build. All the people have rallied together. They're working. And immediately opposition arises. By the way, I know nobody wants to hear this. If you're going to do anything for God, there will be opposition. If you decide, I'm going to change my life, I'm getting sober, as for me and my house, we are going to serve the Lord. Like when you make a decision to move in a good direction, there will be opposition. In fact, I would say this, you should expect it. Opposition should be expected. So anything that you're going to do for God, you should expect opposition. You're like, Nathan, this is discouraging. It's not, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, a lot of people think that, okay, you're telling me opposition should be expected, but I always thought that, if I'm following Jesus, if I've surrendered my life to him, it's going to be smooth sailing. God's going to just go ahead of me like a snowplow and clear the way, and my life is going to be easy. There won't be obstacles. That's not true. I don't even know where that idea came from, because here's what Jesus said in John 16. Okay, we're just setting up the conversation. He said, in this world, you will have what? Opposition, trouble, difficulty. Things are going to go wrong. But he says, take heart, I have overcome the world. So Jesus does not promise easy. He actually tells us it's not going to be easy. What he does promise is, take heart, I'm with you, and I have overcome the world. You've got me on your team when opposition arises. This is so important for us to understand, because as I said, the moment you start defending your faith, the moment you start defending your family, the moment you start moving in the direction of the thing that God has called you, invited you into, there will be opposition. In fact, we could say this as well, that the absence of opposition may indicate a lack of impact. If you're not doing anything of any significance, the devil will leave you alone. He just doesn't care. But the moment you say, I'm going to do something that matters, that's when opposition. See, the people surrounding Nehemiah, we're going to learn about them today, they didn't bother with Jerusalem as long as it lay in ruins. But the moment that the city walls began to build, the moment that pride came back to the nation, the moment that there was a secure place for economy to thrive, it was going to hurt them. And all of a sudden they take notice and their opposition is going to arise. And the same is true. Like the moment you start moving in the direction that God has called you, there will be opposition. 1 Peter 5, verse 8, I love this. Be sober-minded and be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion seeking someone to devour. Peter reminds us that there is an enemy. And I know everyone gets all weirded out. You start talking about the devil, you start talking about Satan, but there is an enemy. There is an enemy that seeks to destroy what is good. There is an enemy that seeks to move you off the path that God invites you onto a path, and you begin to walk in that way. And he's going to do everything he can to get you off track, off the path, to oppose you at every single turn. By the way, this is a freebie. The enemy, this adversary, do you know how he works? Through people. We're going to devote a whole sermon to this in a couple weeks. Because sometimes we think the devil's behind a bush. The devil is definitely in our tech this morning, okay? There's stuff going on. Okay, but it's like the devil's out there. But in actual fact, Satan and the enemy actually works through people, sometimes through good people. This is really important. There's this one story I love in the Gospel of Matthew where Jesus tells his disciples, I'm about to suffer. And the Son of Man must suffer. And Peter's like, no, Lord, that won't happen. And he says, get behind me, Satan. Jesus understood that one of his best friends who loved him most could also be an instrument of the enemy to get him off his track, to get him off a mission. But here's the thing Jesus was able to do. We're going to talk about this more in future week. Jesus was able to separate what was evil from what was good. He didn't hate Peter. He didn't make Peter his enemy. He understood that the enemy could work in all different ways. And he rebuked the enemy, and then just a few verses later, he blesses Peter and gives him promise and hope for the future. Here's the question. Can you and I do that? Can we separate? Or if somebody does us wrong, do we make them the enemy, right? Are we able to distinguish between those two? We're going to talk lots about it in the future week. So as we continue in this chapter, what we're going to see is that opposition for Nehemiah. They're going to try and stop the wall. Who is going to try and stop the wall? Well, there's two names. Their names are Sanballat and Tobiah. Okay, now these two individuals are going to do everything they can throughout the rest of the book to stop the work. If the work thrives and God's will is done, it's going to hurt them, and so they are going to do everything they can to stop the work. Also interesting, this is another freebie, Sanballat, we believe, is a descendant of the Moabites, and Tobiah, we know for certain, is a descendant of the Ammonites. These are two groups of people that the nation of Israel was supposed to eradicate completely. And the disobedience of the parents is going to mean that the children and the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren are going to have to fight the battle the parents didn't. So if you're like, why are we talking about opposition? Because if you and I are unwilling to face the battles that are in front of us, if we're unwilling to stand strong, we pass on the opposition to our children, but we can also, on the other side, fight the battle and create a place for our kids of safety. So that would be a whole nother sermon, but let's move on to verse 1. Here we go. You guys ready?
Yes.
Thank you. One person is ready. Are you ready? All right, let's dive into it. Okay, so here we go. Verse 1, Nehemiah 4. Thanks for being good sports. When Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, he became angry, and he was greatly incensed, and he ridiculed the Jews. Now, what I want you to see is that the opposition that Nehemiah is going to face is going to start small. It starts with anger. Somebody's angry. Somebody's upset, okay? It will build, but it starts small, and we see that it begins here. He is angry. The next thing that happens, it says, in the presence of his associates and the army of Samaria, he said, what are those feeble Jews doing? He moves on to criticism. These guys are worthless. They'll never do it. What do they even think they're doing? So we have anger, we have criticism. Next, he begins to question. You know, questioning is a form of opposition. Oh, you really think you can do that? Oh, God really called you to that? Oh, you really think? And that's exactly. Will they restore the wall? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they finish in a day? Can they bring the stones back to life from the heaps of rubble burned as here? Have you ever had something on your heart? And you're like, I believe God's calling me. I'm changing my life. And someone's like, oh yeah, really? You're really going to be able to do that? You really think you can beat that addiction even with God's help? I don't think so. I've seen your track. And people just question, and it's a form of opposition. You need to know that. It's a form of opposition. And here's the beautiful thing. If you're getting opposition, it often means you're on the right track. Unless the opposition you're facing is because of your own sin and foolishness, right? Like Jonah, when he was in the belly of the fish, he's like, okay, this is on me, right? But if you're doing the right things and trying to take steps forward and do what God has called you to do, and you're experiencing opposition, it means you're on the right track. And so here we have questioning. Lastly, Tobiah, pipes up. Tobiah the Ammonite, who's at his side, said, what are they building? Even a fox climbing up on their measly wall would break down their wall of stones. So now we have mockery. And these are all forms of opposition. And if you declare, man, God is leading me here, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I believe God is leading me to do, and people start questioning and mocking, oh, you think you can do that? This is all an indication of opposition. Because here's the thing, the moment you take a step forward towards your calling, people get upset. They get upset. I've noticed that even if you change something and make it better, someone's still upset. I remember when Tim Hortons changed their lids. There were people protesting in the streets. I hated the old lids. I'm like, these new ones are way better. Why is everybody so upset? Because people don't like change. And anything you're going to do is going to stir up trouble. And if you do anything of significance, if you say to your friends, I'm not going out drinking, I'm gonna go to church or young adults group instead, and you're like, this is what I'm doing, and they start mocking you, and oh, you're goody two shoes. It's because they feel bad. They know they should probably be doing something different with their life, and they see you doing it, and they'd rather pull you down than cheer you on. If you say to somebody, I have a dream, God's put on my heart, I'm going to do this incredible thing for God, they feel small because of your large dream. And so you'll face criticism. When you do what's right, everyone gets mad at you because they know they're not doing what's right. And they feel like you're judging them, even if you're not. You guys with me? Criticism will come. It'll come in all sorts of forms. I want us to look at Nehemiah's response. Look at this. Here's what Nehemiah says. Hear, O our God. The first thing he does when he experiences opposition, criticism, all this stuff, is he turns it over to God. He's like, God, this is yours. I think there's so much for us to learn. If you feel like there's opposition coming at you, to say, God, I'm giving this to you. Now, I love it because he gives God some suggestions as to what God could do with his enemies, right? We're despised, turn back their taunt on their own heads and give them up to be plundered in a land where they're captives. Pretty dark, I gotta be honest. But it's like, God, this is what I think should happen, but I'm giving it to you. And I think you and I would be wise to do the same thing. God, I'm feeling opposition. People are against me. I am giving this to you. Notice what else he does in the next verse. Do not cover their guilt and let not their sins be blotted out from your sight, for they have provoked you to anger in the presence of the builders. Nehemiah goes, not only am I giving it to you, I realize this isn't personal. Like, Sanballat and Tobiah aren't against Nehemiah. They're against the work of God. They're against the wall being built. They're against what God wants to do in that community. And so one of the problems we run into, especially in church, when people experience opposition, they make it about themselves. They make it personal. And we're going to talk about that in a future week as well, because these themes just keep emerging over and over and over in the book. So look what it says next. It says in verse 6, so we built the wall, and all the wall was joined together to half its height, for the people had a mind to work. So things are going well. Half the job is done. The walls are starting to, the gates are starting to form, and the walls are getting up high enough where there's like some security. And so this is exciting. Like, we're halfway there. This is so good. But here at the halfway mark is when all of the opposition is going to ramp up. And here's what I wanted to tell you. Here's a principle that I wanted us to consider. Don't stop building. Can we say that together? Don't stop building. When opposition arises, when there's challenge and pushback to the thing that God has called you to do and is inviting you into do, don't stop. Don't stop. What does the enemy want them to do? Stop working. So they're going to threaten. They're going to mobilize forces. They're going to do everything they can to stop the work. And the thing that you and I have to be careful to do is not to quit, not to walk away when opposition happens, but to keep doing the thing that God has called us to do no matter what. So don't stop working. One of the phrases that I've used in the past is this: don't chase snakes. So Nehemiah is going to face the opposition. He's not going to be like, he's not going to bury his head in the sand. He's not going to pretend there's no opposition. He's not going to pretend there isn't an enemy surrounding them that wants to stop the work. But he's also not going to build an army and go out after them. He's not chasing to find out who's saying what. Somebody oppose you, criticize you, and it's like, well, who said what? And I'm going to tell them, and I'm going to set them straight. And you're running around chasing snakes. That's what I like to call it. Rather than focusing on what's in front of you and continuing to do the work that God has called you to do. Be faithful where you are. And that's exactly what Nehemiah is going to do. Because let me tell you something. If God is inviting you something, we all want to please everybody. But the person we have to please first and foremost is God. Are you with me? I want to please everyone, but I know I can't. I make a decision of where we're going to go to dinner. Someone in my family is not happy. Right? There's always going to be issues. And so the question is, am I doing what God has asked me to do? Am I being faithful to Him? Am I pleasing Him? Don't stop building. So let's continue in the story. Verse 7 says this: Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabs and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the repairing of the walls of Jerusalem was going forward and that the breaches were beginning to get closed. Oh no. And they were, what does it say? So they're not just angry now, they're very angry. This is an escalation. And so what started with criticism and anger and frustration and mockery is now going to escalate. They're going to start mobilizing troops. They're going to actually start to take action. This is the second level of opposition, okay? And it says this in the next verse, and they all plotted together to come and fight against Jerusalem and to cause confusion in it. So all the surrounding people that were against this project, they're like, let's rally together, let's get our forces, let's do a sneak attack, let's stop the work at any cost. And once again, look at Nehemiah's response. It's always the same with Nehemiah. I love this. Go to the next verse. And we prayed to our God. First thing he always does, straight to God. And I'm challenged by that because that's not always and you're like, he's a pastor. His first instinct, when anything goes wrong. This morning when the tech went down, my first instinct was not pray to God. It was check the wires. Nehemiah at every turn is like, okay, all right, God. He comes to him first. And then the second thing he does is he sets a guard as a protection against them day and night. Here's the big idea. The big idea is this: in the face of opposition, we must pray and prepare. Pray and prepare. We say that together. Pray and prepare. This is such a big idea. It's this idea that we have to pray, we have to bring God in, and we have to do what we can do to prepare. You guys with me? Pray and prepare. Some people love to pray. Every time something goes wrong, God, they bring it to God, but they don't prepare. And some people, this would be my tendency, is to prepare, but we don't pray. And this is like, we talked about this in, I think, week 2, God's part and our part. God's favor and our faithfulness. They both have to be there. Nehemiah prays, says, God, we need you to protect you. And let's string up some bows. Let's build some shields. Let's get all the armor. Let's organize the people to defend. You do both. You pray and you prepare. And this is what Nehemiah does with the people. So they're preparing. I like to say it this way: too much preparation is a lack of faith. Too little preparation is foolishness. And it's both God's part and our part working together, God's faithfulness and God's favor and our faithfulness. So we continue in the story. It says this: Now, I'm going to point out who's saying what. In Judah, so in the region where the work is being done, it was said, so you're going to hear 3 different news reports. The strength of those who bear the burdens is failing. There's too much rubble. By ourselves, we will not be able to rebuild the wall. Within the people who are building, they're like, this is too big. We're not going to be able to get it done. People are looking, going, they're never going to do it. So that's one news report. Here's the second. Our enemies said, these are the people surrounding that want to stop them, they will not know or see till we come along among them and kill them and stop the work. So the enemies are saying, we're coming to get you. The people that are there are going, it's too much. We're not going to be able to do it. And finally, there's a third news channel. This will be channel 11. Okay, at that time, the Jews who lived near them came from all directions and said to us 10 times, you must return. Get out of Jerusalem. Stop the work. Enemies are coming and they're going to kill you, so come home and be safe with us. So the people who are there, who rose up to do this work, who are volunteering their time and energy to rebuild the city walls for their children, their grandchildren, for their neighbors and countrymen, those people that are hard at work are facing threats. They've got people in their community that are complaining. They have people outside their community who are threatening them. And they have family members and relatives going, get out of Dodge. And I like to think of it this way. They got 3, I call them news channels. You know, it's 2,500 years ago. And they're still getting bad news. And it's coming from different channels. And so even today, most of you probably don't have TV, but on YouTube or on your Instagram, there's all these channels of communication coming in. And the question is really this. The question is, which voice are you going to listen to? You and I have to decide which voice we're going to listen to. Because the other voice that I didn't mention is the voice of Nehemiah saying, we're doing this for our children, for our grandchildren. God, his favor is upon us. He is with us. He's defending us. There's a fourth voice. And the people that are at the work have to decide which voice they're going to listen to. By the way, you and I have to decide which channel we're tuning into as well. You with me? Because it's so easy if you begin to listen to the enemy. It's so easy to begin to respond out of fear and reaction. Nehemiah does not react to all this news. It goes on to say this. So in the lowest parts of the space behind the wall in open places, I stationed the people by their clans with their swords, spears, and bows. This is very good. He's organizing things. So go on to the next passage. And I looked and arose, and I said to the nobles and the officials and to the rest of the people, do not be afraid of them. I was having dinner with a young family from our church a little while ago. And they made a statement that stuck with me. I've been saying it ever since. And the statement was this: there's more fear than danger. And I thought, oh, isn't that true? There is more fear than danger. In this world, there's danger. I mean, you leave this place and drive on the road, you're in some level of danger. When you walk around your neighborhood, you're in some level of danger. When you get on a plane, when you eat food that comes out of a can, you're in danger. I'm just saying. Okay, there's danger everywhere, but there's more fear, it seems, these days than there is danger. People are more afraid than they probably should be. And I think a big reason for that is because of the voices we listen to, okay? And I think it's really important to understand. Nehemiah is like, yes, we have enemies surrounding us. Yes, they want to take us out. We're going to build a plan to defend ourselves, and we're going to keep building the wall that God has invited us to build. We're not stopping. There's more fear than danger. So I guess we have to decide what voice we're going to listen to when the news comes on. I've been reminding people, I'm like, stop worrying about what the President of the United States is going to do next, because we don't know. Nobody can guess. The thing is like, I can't control what Vladimir Putin does or Xi Jinping or what happens in Europe. Like, I have no control, no say of all these things that are going on in the world. Is there danger? Yes. Is there stuff on the horizon? Is stuff changing? Yes. Here's the question. What has God invited me to do, and am I doing it? That's the question that I have to come back to. Because I can't control what happens outside this border and that border. What I can control is, am I leading my family towards Jesus? Am I making a difference in my community? Am I serving others? We can worry about the economy. Here's a question. Are you paying off debt? Do you have an emergency fund to take care of your family if there's an economic collapse? Like, what can you do today to prepare and to keep building what God... Is this making sense? Everyone's just listening? I hope it's making sense, okay? It's so important for us, to understand there is more fear than there is danger. So we move on. Again, Nehemiah, knowing that everyone is afraid, knowing that they are facing all of this, he says, remember the Lord. You seeing a trend here with Nehemiah? It's like, look to God. And that's the thing. When I turn on the news, when I see what's going on in the world, I'm like, okay, remember the Lord, who's great and awesome. And fight for your brothers. Fight for your sons and your daughters and your wives and your homes. What breaks my heart is seeing people locked on their TV, worried about what's happening in the other part of the world while they're not loving their own family, they're not fighting for what matters right in their own backyard. Nehemiah's like, guys, stop worrying about Sanballat and Tobiah. Pick up a shovel, pick up a sword. Let's keep building what God has given us to build. He continues. When enemies heard that it was known to us and that God had frustrated their plan, we all returned to the wall, each to his work. So Nehemiah's like, guys, they're all getting ready to go home and they're packing their bags. Like, no, remember the Lord. Fight for your families. Remember why you're doing what you're doing. And they all get back to work. And it continues and tells us some of what they did. From that day on, half of my servants worked on construction and half held spears, shields, bows, coats of mail. Like, we're not stopping. We're not ignoring the danger. We're going to set up a guard. We're going to all take turns holding the spears, and the rest of us are going to work. And they continue to build the wall. And the leaders stood behind the whole house of Judah who were building on the wall. We go to the next verse. Those who carried burdens were loaded in such a way that they labored with the work with one hand and held a weapon. They got a load of bricks and a sword on their hip. They're battling, they're building, they're praying, they're preparing, but they're not stopping the work that God has invited them to do. Let's go to the next verse. Each of the builders had his sword strapped to his side while he built, and the man who sounded the trumpet was beside me. This is Nehemiah talking. Continue. And I said to the nobles and the officials and to the rest of the people, the work is great, widely spread, and we're separated on the wall far from one another. People are a long distance away, and so he has a plan, and he goes on to say this. He says, in the place where you hear the sound of the trumpet, rally to us there. Our God will fight for us. So, again, he's bringing it to God. They're trusting God, but they're also preparing. If we're attacked over here, we blow the trumpet. Everyone comes together. We fight together. God is with us. I love that. There's a plan in place, but we're not going to stop the work. The thing that I keep coming back to is how easily we can be distracted from the work God has invited us to do. And I don't know what it is for you, but I can tell you this. When opposition shows up, the goal is to get you to stop doing the work that God has called you to do. And Nehemiah knows, I'm bringing it to God, I'm making a plan, but I'm not going to stop the work. Rally to us there, our God will fight for us. They prayed and they prepared. They prayed and they prepared. Okay? I like to say this, don't panic. This morning when the sound system went down, I was like, great, I'm preaching on opposition, nothing's working, and everything in me was like, panic! Half our church won't hear the service, panic! And I was like, no. People saw me in the halls, I'm like, just take a breath, it's okay. Let's make a plan. Let's move forward. And I think it's so easy for all of us when we're not expecting opposition. We should be. But the moment you say, I'm going to do this for God, I'm taking a step of faith and obedience, there will be I always joke about this. When someone says, I'm going to give my first and best to God, I'm going to start being generous in a new way because that's what I feel God's leading me to do, that week your car will break. The moment you're like, that's it, I'm investing in my kids, I'm going to be a mother or a father that is present and teaches my kids about Jesus, everything will blow up that week. There's going to be opposition. And the opposition is intended to get you off the thing that God has invited you and that you have set your mind to do. Do you understand that? When you see it, this is why Paul the Apostle in Ephesians 6 said, put on the whole armor of God. Because we should be expecting opposition. The moment we begin to do. He prayed, and they prepared for what was ahead. And then I love this, and we're going to kind of wrap it up here. It says, so we labored at the work, and half of them held their spears from the break of dawn until the stars came out. So they continue the work day and night. I also said to the people at that time, let every man and his servant pass the night within Jerusalem. Don't go home. Don't go to your villages. Don't go to your towns. Stay within the wall so that we can get this thing done, that they may be a guard for us by night and labor by day. So they're all in on this. And finally, I think this is the last verse. So neither I nor my brothers, nor my servants, nor the men of my guard who followed me, none of us took off our clothes. Each kept his weapon in his right hand. They're sleeping in their clothes with their sword at their side. They're not going to stop the work because of the opposition. They're going to stand firm, and they're trusting that God will do his part, and they're prepared and they're ready to do battle. I'm going to invite the band to come up. They're going to close with a song. So you guys just please come and join me as soon as you're ready. It's so important for us to be reminded, though, that God is inviting us into his work, to be fruitful in some way. You know, in the midst of the chaos this morning when everything was going wrong, Sienna, one of the girls in our Pathway Kids, she handed this to me. She colored me a picture on the way to church. And I just stopped and I just looked at it and I was reminded, Jesus said, I'm the vine, you are the branches. We cannot do the things that God has called us to do without him, but he's invited us to be fruitful. And there will be obstacles, there will be challenges, but we need to continue to do the work. So I think the band is going to lead us in a song called This Is How I Fight My Battles. Am I correct? Yeah. All right, because that would be really awkward if it wasn't. This is how I fight my battles. And I think it's a Michael W. Smith song. But as we're singing this, what's that?
We're singing the upper room version.
The upper room version? All good.
Different.
This is how I fight my battles. Interesting about the song is it doesn't tell us how we fight our battles in the song, I don't believe. So let me just add some context. This is how we fight our battles. When there's opposition, when it feels like all hell is breaking loose against us, we remember the Lord. We remember who fights. Trouble will come, but take heart, I have overcome the world. What we celebrate, what we sing about is that we are not in the fight alone. This is what we have to remember when it's like it's darkest hour and everything is beyond what I can handle. He has our back. And so we keep doing the work. We turn our attention to him and we prepare for what's next, but we trust him in it all. And so I wanted to sing and finish the service today by reflecting on that together. And so I'll let the band lead the song. If you guys would stand in both rooms as they come to share.
Psalm 23, verse 5 says, This is King David. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. King David had many adversaries, but in the presence of the Lord, seated at his table, he posed no threat because David had guest rights with the Lord. In ancient East, a host was obligated to safeguard his visitors from the enemies at all costs. When we choose to have a close relationship with God, our King, he prepares a table for us, offering his goodness, blessings, care, and protection. This is how we fight our battles. There's a table you prepared for me in the presence of my enemies. It's your body, your blood you've shed for me. This is how I fight my battles. There's a table your body, your blood you shed for me. This is how I fight my battles. And I believe you've overcome, and I will lift my song of praise for what you've done. This is how I fight my battles. 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 This is how. In the valley, I know you are with me. Surely your goodness surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded by you, Jesus. It may look like I'm surrounded by you. God, thank you for today. Thank you for this great service. Thank you for our pastor. Thank you for being here. Even though there's so much technical things that's going on in the background, God, you're here. You're always here. You're amazing, God.
All right, well, we're going to end the service there if you need to go. But hey, I was just thinking as we were singing that song, there might be some folks here, and you're in the middle of a battle, and maybe you're feeling alone. And Nehemiah's like, no, when you hear the trumpet, we're going to rally together. We're going to fight together, and God will fight through us together. And so if you're here today, I just want to encourage you, if you're feeling like you're in the midst of a battle and you're alone, don't rush out of this place. I'm going to stick around up here at the front of this room. We have elders, worship team, people that love Jesus. I can just pray with you and stand with you. And so if that's you, just don't rush away. If that's not you, thank you for coming. I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week as we continue our series in Nehemiah. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
you.